Shalom, and welcome to a message for the Parsha. For Parshat Pinchas, this Parsha begins with Hashem saying to Moshe, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, had successfully subsided my anger from the Jewish people when he stood up in his zealousness, and as a result, I did not annihilate and totally punish the Jewish people. Now, of course, the story for this, the beginning of this story, is at the end of last week's Parsha, the beginning of chapter 25 in the book of Numbers, in the book of Bamidbar. For more detail, please look it up there. But the bottom line is Pinchas stood up and took matters into his hand, of course, in accordance with Jewish law, and he put to death the sinner and the Midianite woman that was causing at the time a tremendous calamity to the Jewish people, namely a plague broke out and a total of 24,000 Jews died as a result. And here, by his action, it abruptly stopped. He halted it in his tracks. The question is, we know that the Torah never says any extra works. The Torah never states the obvious. And something that we know, the Torah doesn't have to tell us. The Torah expects us to know it because we know it already. It's information that we have. Well, in the beginning of the story, like I mentioned in the end of last week's Parsha, when it tells us who the hero of this event is, it names him. And it says, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen. So, of course, the question becomes, why then the need to repeat that? Why then does the Torah feel the necessity to repeat his pedigree and tell us who Pinchas is? We already know. Just refer to him as Pinchas, and we know he's the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen. So Rashi explains the need for this. Rashi tells us that what happened was there were many, many naysayers. There were many negative people amongst the Jewish people who, unfortunately, instead of expressing appreciation and gratitude for what Pinchas did, they did everything they can to try to turn it around. And what they tried to do is portray him as a violent person, as a person who has inherently bad qualities. He has a predisposition for violence, and therefore he was motivated to do what he did. In other words, they argued that he is not the, so to speak, heir, the possessor of the good DNA coming from Aaron, the high priest, who was known as the Ohev Shalom, Verodev Shalom, as the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot describes him as the person who loved peace and pursued peace. But rather, they said, he is taking after his mother's side of the family, and she was the daughter of Yithro. And Yithro, they said, exhibited some inherent sadistic qualities of, lack of compassion, lack of any whatsoever mercy. How so? One of the examples was that at the time that Yithro was still a priest, was still a high priest for all the idols, he would personally fatten little calves, in order to have them slaughtered for the idols, for no good purpose, not even for consumption of a human being, not certainly for their own good, just for the purpose of slaughtering them. And they said that this is an indicator of inherent sadistic qualities. And that's what they said. Don't give Pinchas any credit. Don't look at him as a hero. He's just a vicious guy. He's just a violent guy. He loves blood and gore, and that's why he did what he did. He happened to have been in the right place at the right time, and therefore it brought good. And that's why Hashem says, no. Let me tell you, I am the ultimate testimony. I am the ultimate witness, Hashem says. And I am telling you that I know that Pinchas is the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen. Pinchas takes after his grandfather Aaron, and he is the ultimate compassionate person. And that's what motivated him to do something against his own typical disposition. He just did it for the better good of everyone else. This is a very important lesson. Many times you see people do good things. And perhaps not all the time, but too many times, we jump to conclusions and we say, come on, what does this person think? He's such a big tzaddik. He's such a righteous person. Look how he's praying so well today, or studying so diligently, or doing this mitzvah with such great observance. Please, come on, who are you trying to fool? I know you better than that. That's wrong. The Torah tells us, give the person credit for what they do. And besides, you never know what's really in them, what's really truly motivating them from within. Interestingly, this can happen to us too, to ourselves. Sometimes we have this urge to pray better, to study Torah better, to do a mitzvah with extra diligence, to help a person with extra fervor. But then we say to ourselves, come on, who am I fooling? I know myself. This is not really who I am. I don't do this all the time. What am I going to fake it now? What am I going to do this one mitzvah with such extra diligence? What am I going to do? Show off or something? Or who am I trying to prove to? So the question is, should I maybe not do it so I don't show off? Or should I maybe not do that extra, mitzvah with extra diligence or so? And the answer here is, do it. Because here is the question, and here is the answer that's brought in the Talmud, which gives us the ultimate perspective. The Talmud says that in truth, a person has to study Torah and observe the mitzvot lishma. Lishma means for its sake, meaning for the sake of the mitzvah. Do it for the right reason, because Hashem gave it to us, and we're doing it because Hashem wants us to do it. However, if one is not doing it for the right sake, it seems to be telling us, no, don't do the mitzvah, or don't study the Torah, because you're doing it for your own ulterior reasons, for all ulterior motives, for whatever fringe benefit you think you're going to achieve through it. However, the Talmud says no. And the Talmud says, le'olam means forever, always, in truth, ya'asok adam b'torah mitzvot shelo lishma. A person should endeavor, a person should be active in Torah, in the study of Torah, and in the observance of mitzvah, even afilu shelo lishma, even if he's doing it not for the right sake, not for the ultimate purpose of the mitzvah itself. Why? Shemitoch shela lishma ba lishma. Because from doing it not for the right purpose, eventually you'll come to doing it for its sake. Which simply means, and obviously, that once you get into the habit of studying Torah with diligence, once you get into the experience of doing mitzvot all the time, it becomes part of you, and you're eventually going to do it for the right reasons. The Hasidic teachings actually take it a step further. And they say, notice the word. It doesn't say because of, it says shemitoch, which literally means from within, which is telling us that even though on the surface it seems that the Jew is being motivated, or that I'm being motivated by ulterior motives, by the promise of some fringe benefit, but mitoch, from within me, there is the soul that really wants to do it, and really wants to do it for the right reason. So always go ahead and do it. Never refrain from doing Torah mitzvot, or never refrain from giving somebody credit for the moment, for the act that they're doing, even though maybe they don't do it all the time, or maybe that's not who they're about all the time, but because within there is a soul that really wants to do it for the right reasons, and therefore you should.